Welcome to Movement Monday. I'm Lilith Rose, and today I'd like to start off your week by talking about a unique experience that I had over the last couple of weeks in regards of approaching strangers while dealing with a whole heaps of social anxiety and just overall exhaustion. I came in contact with this guy who runs this project called Unlabel Me. Very cool project. It's around understanding people's labels and then seeing past those labels to who they actually are as people. Pretty cool project. We were doing some filming and in the studio, and I set up the filming and everything went wrong. I was exhausted. Everything was going wrong. All my tech was breaking. I ended up spending like almost an hour just trying to set up the shot while the interviewee was there, just because all of my equipment was just not working. And so I'm dealing with all this and I'm already exhausted, and I just like barrel through and I do it, right? Whew, get it done. The next day, we meet up again and I'm still exhausted. And we do some more filming. Thankfully, the equipment kind of worked this time. But then this guy says, hey, I want to do like some off the cuff interviews, like with people on the street. This particular project was around LGBTQ plus labels. So interviewing queer people on the street. And we live in San Francisco, so pretty good opportunity there. So we go to the hub of kind of, gay central here in San Francisco. It's a place I know pretty well. And we just start walking down the street, and I have a camera. He has his phone with a mic attached. And he just goes, okay, so like, what's the vibe going on? I'm like, it's San Francisco. Like, most of the time people will not want to talk to you. But it's also California, so you actually don't know. People are kind of just friendly. We're walking down this street, and when I see him lock eyes on these three people that are sitting on this table out in a restaurant enjoying some Bloody Marys. They're obviously just having like a fun little afternoon drink, and he walks up to them. And my initial response is, oh, no. Please don't bother these people having a nice day. Please don't interrupt them. Please. Oh, no. They're going to be so annoyed and it's going to be so awkward. And they're like, please leave us alone. It's going to be horrible. But I'm just following along. I'm not, I'm basically just like a guide and a camera, in this situation. I'm not leading this. So I follow along. And he just approaches them and just starts talking and just starts making conversation. And they start talking back. And soon there was a full-blown conversation. They're talking back and forth. We end up recording these people. I take a bunch of pictures. I take some B-roll. I'm, filming, doing some stuff. He's filming right in their faces, asking them all of these personal questions. And they're loving it. And my mind is just blown the entire time. Because I know if it was me, I'd go, please, no, get away from me. Don't film me. Don't, please. I'm trying to enjoy my time with some friends. Please get away from me. I'm trying to enjoy some time with my friends, and I don't want to be bothered right now. But these people just kept on talking to him, kept on sharing all of these things about him. And it ended up being a really beautiful conversation around lots of aspects of queer identity. And one of them was a parent with a trans kid. And it was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So when we finished, I'm just thinking, what is this? And the first thing I remember, and this just memory came back to me, is the eagerness and fearlessness I had as a 21-year-old, I want to say. Maybe I was 20, 21, and I was in a marketing class at college, and we had to get people's feedback. We had to get people to respond to surveys. And our task was to go around the school and get people to respond to surveys. And I just remember the fearlessness. I full on just interrupted people. I did not care. I was too bullish. Like, looking back, I was definitely rude. And I can look back on that and go, oh, I was kind of rude. Like, I definitely interrupted some people, and some people got a little angry because I interrupted them. And I'm thinking about this and I'm remembering this, and I go, what changed? Why did this change? Where did this fear come from? And I know partially it is due to exhaustion. It is due to being tired. It's due to being emotionally just overwhelmed and not having the emotional reserves to actually approach strangers and talk to them. I was like running out of like eye contact space. That's what me and my partner call it, when it gets harder and harder for me to make eye contact with people. I was doing that. Like, I was at the point where we're out talking with these people to where I was having trouble looking at people in the eyes, much less talk to them. I just thought, and on my way home, I was thinking about this, and I was comparing the situation before, and I realized I wasn't aware of the social convention at the time. I didn't know what it felt like to be, harassed, but I didn't know what it felt like to be talked to by a stranger on the street. I was raised in a very sheltered place where I very rarely interacted with strangers, and I had no practice in it. So I had no idea what it felt like to be on the receiving end of being talked to by strangers and being like sold to, and being like trying to get, people trying to get your signatures for different things, and all those different things that when you live in a decent sized city, it becomes just kind of a habit to ignore that, because there's so many pulls for your attention that you kind of just give up trying to give your attention to anyone. And so when I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking of, okay, how can I be better at approaching people who I do not know for something that I may be uncomfortable with? To talk about something that may be an uncomfortable subject, but is necessary to talk to and is important. How do I get better at that? And I realized that I have to adopt the mindset of truly me when I was younger and was so socially blind, when I just didn't understand that people in general don't really like being talked to by strangers. But with the awareness of, as an adult now, combining that with this awareness of that some people do, and it's about finding the characteristics of what makes somebody more likely to want to talk to you. It's about not harassing people, but it's about selecting somebody. It's about inquiring. It's about greeting. It is about truly connecting with someone. And so my goal this week, and my goal to you, is to take the childlike bullishness of just approaching a stranger and just saying, hey, look at this, or like, what about this? And just talking to a stranger about literally anything, and taking that childlike enthusiasm and pairing it with the wisdom of an adult who is able to see that, okay, we don't need to approach everyone, but we can talk to people more. And what I truly believe you will find is that, number one, you will grow in your communication skills. You'll grow in your confidence abilities, and you will overall feel more connected and more grounded, and I think more satisfied. I have a full podcast episode coming out within the next couple weeks about this idea of connection and helping people and how vital it is, based on some research in this book that I'm reading. So look out for that. I'm going to dive more into why it's so important. to have those connections. Other than like we all kind of know like, oh, people like being connected to people, but truly diving more into why is that so important? Really understand the importance of that. But that's for later. This is my challenge to you this week. This week, I want you to make some moves and talk to some strangers with childlike enthusiasm and adult wisdom, care, and love. See you next week.